What's going on, guys? You're in with Hardy Tech, and I have a question for you guys today, alright? What would you think if I told you that you could actually become a Pokemon? Not only become a Pokemon, but you get to go around helping other Pokemon, defeating all the bad Pokemon, and actually saving the world. You're basically becoming a superhero Pokemon. That'd be pretty cool, right? Well, I have good news for you guys. Those are real games. They are the Pokemon Mystery Dungeon series, and we'll be taking a look at the first two games in those series, Pokemon Mystery Dungeon, Red Rescue Team, and Blue Rescue Team. I should get this out of the way now. I love these games so incredibly much, and not just these two. The entire Mystery Dungeon line, in my opinion, might just be like the best Pokemon games ever made, despite the fact that they're not main series Pokemon games. They're just so well done. The story, the gameplay, the graphics, just everything in these series make it such an enjoyable experience. I am so excited to kick off the third episode of Anthology with Red and Blue Rescue Team. I hope you guys are as excited as I am. So with that said, let's get into the development of these games. The Mystery Dungeon series and genre has actually been around since the early 1990s, and it was created by a software company known as Chunsoft, originally for the Dragon Quest titles. Of course, as the genre and series got more popular, it did have several spin-offs, including games in Final Fantasy and of course Pokemon. In fact, Chunsoft, the creators of the Mystery Dungeon series, actually created all of the Pokemon Mystery Dungeon games as well, so they definitely made sure to give it their own original feel to it, because, I mean, they know the Mystery Dungeon series better than anybody else would. Red and Blue Rescue Team were first announced in Japan in August of 2005 for the Game Boy Advance and Nintendo DS. Since the Game Boy Advance was just dying, the DS had just come out, they decided to release it on both consoles, with Red Rescue Team being Game Boy and Blue Rescue Team being for the DS. Though you should know, there's absolutely no difference in story or gameplay, anything like that. Really, the only difference is you have a second screen for your minimap. That's basically it. The thing that really surprised me though was the fact that the games were announced in August with a release of September 2005, just 1 month later. That's insane. The English release wasn't announced over here in the US until E3 2006, but I think it was worth the wait. Now, this game has actually received a lot of mixed reviews, with some reviewers saying that this game is absolutely amazing and you need to play it because it's fantastic, while others saying, you should skip it. And spoilers, those people are wrong. I'm not biased. I don't know what you're talking about. By the way, throughout this review, we will be taking a look at the Game Boy Advance version, Red Rescue Team. Like I said earlier, they're exactly the same. Buckle up, guys. The Mystery Dungeon games are very, very story heavy, and I'm going to make it as quick as I possibly can, but I really don't want to skip over some important details. So, let's get started. In Red and Blue Rescue Team, you actually play as a Pokemon. Technically. You wake up one day to discover you've actually been transformed into a Pokemon, and you're in a world of just Pokemon. Oddly, despite the lack of humans in this world, everyone still kind of knows what they are. I don't know how they know what humans are, that's never really explained, but I guess we're just supposed to go with it. After you wake up, you're actually discovered by another Pokemon, and after some conversation, you decide to join that Pokemon and form a rescue team, a group of Pokemon that play superhero and to save anyone in need. Or in some cases, you actually just end up doing errands for people, because, you know, you'd obviously go to superheroes if you needed your laundry done. Though, if I did need someone to do my chores, I'd probably ask the Flash. He'd probably get it done really quickly. You also find out that the world has been suffering from natural disasters everywhere, and nobody can really provide an explanation for them. You then start having these dreams where a mysterious voice talks to you, but sadly they never last long enough for you to really understand the message. Despite these weird things happening in the world, your team begins its very first adventure almost immediately, rescuing a lost Caterpie. Though, let's be honest, if this was a realistic game, Caterpie would be saving everybody else. Along the ways, you actually get more Pokemon to join your teams, from Pokemon you rescue to Pokemon that you actually defeat in battle. As you do more adventures and grow more members, your team starts to gain credibility and grow their adventure rate. You eventually encounter another rescue team named Team Meanies. Do you guys hear that? What is that? Oh! Oh, that foreshadowing literally hurts. Ugh. Team Meanies consist of Ekans, Medicham, and the leader, Gengar. The Caterpie you helped earlier, which, once again, in a real world, Caterpie would be helping you, asks for your help once again as his friend Metapod has actually got lost in the forest. Suddenly, Team Meanie appears, and despite Caterpie saying, no, please go away, they insist that they're going to save the day instead. Caterpie versus Gengar. Why does this feel so familiar? When you chase down Team Meanie and find the Metapod, you find out that they actually have a plan for world domination. By saving people. Off to a great start. Though you defeat them in battle and save the lost Metapod, foiling their evil plans for now. Later, the duo consults Xatu, a wise Pokemon who likes to stare at the sun. Xatu says that you becoming a Pokemon is related to all the natural disasters happening, and also mentions that the world has become unbalanced and the world's destruction is looming. You later visit a wish cache who tells you the story of Ninetales. One day, a human angered a Ninetales and was cursed because of it. However, their Gardevoir took the curse instead to save her master. Sadly, the human selfishly deserts the cursed Gardevoir. Ninetales prophesizes that the human will be reborn as a Pokemon and the balance of nature in the world would collapse because of this. Oh god, no, please not again! Gengar hears this and convinces all the Pokemon that you were the bad human from the tale, and they run you out of town. During your escape, you encounter Articuno, who blames you for the natural disasters, but an Absol arrives and stops the fighting before eventually joining your rescue team. They eventually reach the Ninetales of the legend. Ninetales reveals that while the legend is true, the legend is not linked to the natural disasters taking place. With this new information, you're able to clear your name back in Pokemon Square and are accepted back into the community. Meanwhile, earthquakes have awoken Groudon, who is threatening to cause even more destruction. After several powerful teams fail at stopping Groudon, your rescue team decides to take it upon themselves to stop the beast. You actually managed to defeat the legendary Pokemon that several much more skilled and powerful Pokemon failed to defeat because, I don't know, friendship. And after defeating him, you put an end to Groudon's rage. Xatu then reveals to you what is actually causing the imbalance of nature, a falling star that's headed directly for the planet. Later, Gardevoir actually reveals herself to you as the voice of your dreams and tells you that while you're in the human world, you knew that the Pokemon world needed to be saved. But to prove that you could be the hero, you wanted to be tested. So you had all of your memories as a human erased, aside from remembering you were a human, and embark on a journey to prove you are clear of heart and mind. Only once completing this were you to be told the truth about yourself, and after saving the world, you'll return to the human world, leaving all your friends behind. With this new information, you travel to Sky Tower to find Rayquaza, who's the only one who can stop the meteor. After defeating him, he agrees and uses his Hyper Beam attack to destroy it. Sadly, the aftermath of the explosion leaves you in the Netherworld. Surprisingly though, Gengar actually saves you. Once you wake up, you say farewell to the other Pokemon and return to the human world as the credits begin to roll in one of the most emotional scenes in Pokemon history. I'm not crying. The graphical style used in these duo is absolutely amazing in my opinion. It just feels very Game Boy, which is perfect as Game Boy Advance was actually my first system. Though I guess I could see how people playing on a DS might be a little frustrated by this. If I had to describe the graphics, I'd say it's a perfect combination of Earthbound style graphics combined with the third generation Pokemon graphics, at least the overworld of the third generation. It is just beautiful to look at. I love it. The sprites are amazingly designed, the animations are wonderful, the overworld is exciting and creative, there are dozens of different dungeon designs that all feel different. Overall, the game's just very aesthetically pleasing to look at, and if they still use this style to this day in the newer games, I'd be happy. The music in this game might be the only part that never really stood out to me. In fact, besides the opening theme, I didn't really remember a lot of the music until I started looking back at this game for this review. Granted, it has been nearly 2 years since the last time I touched this game, but usually really memorable music will stick with you for that long. Though, like I said earlier, I do remember the opening theme. It's really, really catchy and memorable, and one of my favorite songs in Pokemon history. The gameplay is very similar to the other Mystery Dungeon games in this genre, but for a lot of people, including myself, Red Rescue Team and Blue Rescue Team was actually my very first Mystery Dungeon experience. The series has you playing as an actual Pokemon that gets selected via a random personality quiz. Once you have your Pokemon selected, you travel through several different Mystery Dungeons, which consist of several floors whose layouts are randomly generated at the start of each floor. Think Minecraft, but good. You encounter other Pokemon and battle very similarly to the main series games, with the same type properties and your Pokemon being limited to 4 moves. Though there is an extra default tackle-like move you have, but it's pretty weak. Some other minor changes between the Mystery Dungeon games and the main series Pokemon games are the lack of a speed stat, some minor changes to certain moves and abilities to make them make a little more sense in Mystery Dungeon format, as well as status conditions working somewhat differently in these games. If it isn't obvious from this review, I love these games so incredibly much. While my personal favorite is Red Rescue Team, Blue Rescue Team is just as good and deserves to be played just as much. The journey and story of these games are unlike anything we've ever seen in the Pokemon world before, and in my opinion shows that even though Pokemon can be a simple game, there's no excuse to not have amazing storytelling. The visuals and music are absolutely amazing and memorable, and the fact that you get to play as a Pokemon that goes on a journey, how is that not like everyone's dream come true, you know, right next to actually owning a Pokemon? But come on, you're Pokemon. I can't be a Caterpie. I want to be a Caterpie. I can't. That's lame. That's probably just going to deem this game down like 5 points. But still, I'm going to become a Pokemon. That's awesome. This is a game that, in my opinion, every single Pokemon fan needs to play if they're going to consider themselves an actual fan. It is an absolutely amazing journey that is a different take on Pokemon, but an absolutely perfect one. And to be honest, Red and Blue Rescue Team aren't even the best games in the spin-off series. Don't worry, we'll be getting to those later. I think that just goes to show how amazing this is. And that's why for the first time in Pokemon Anthology history, and probably one of the very few times we'll actually get a chance to do this, I'm giving this game a rating of Master Ball. Thank you everybody for joining me on this journey today as we travel through one of my favorite games of all time. Trust me, I am so excited to get to Explorers of Sky. Oh my gosh, one of my favorite games of all time, even outside of Pokemon, just video games. I love it. But taking a look at this today was very memorable for me as well. In fact, if you haven't seen it yet, if you've never experienced this game, I'm going to recommend you go watch my Let's Play of it I did nearly 2 years ago now. I think it's one of the best series I've ever done. It's really relaxed. We went through an awesome journey, including this beautiful moment right here. It's a weekend, but no one will play with you. What do? Masturbate. A relaxed person like you should be. Oh, please, not Skitty. Oh, God, no. Really? Look at that face. Look at his face. What is he getting a blowjob or something? What is happening to that Psyduck? People still remind me of that to this very day. But thank you guys so much for watching and supporting Pokemon Anthology. Hopefully we'll have many more of these go in the future. I know it's been like a month and a half since Gold and Silver. I'm gonna try to get a little better on these. I know I make a lot of excuses. I'm sorry, I'm a bad person. I don't know for sure what game we'll be looking at next, so I'm actually going to let you guys decide. There will be a poll down in the description of this video. As long as that poll is still there, you guys can still vote. I'll leave it for a few days for you guys to decide what game we'll be taking a look at next, because I don't know what to do. It'll probably be another spin-off game because there's only so many main series games we do. I just don't want to burn through them all so quickly, you know? But yeah, that's gonna do it for us today, guys. If you enjoyed this video, please feel free to show your support by clicking the like button down below. It means the world to me when you guys do, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.